Money disappeared overnight when the Anglo-American forces invaded. The billions of dollars disappeared overnight. Libya has a lot of money saved up too. We're facing a global economic crisis. Well, if they invade Libya or take over, a lot of money can disappear. Oil can be privatized.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us. Now, moving on to other news, and Ireland has voted, and it looks like the ruling Fianna Fáil party will be cast out of power. Let's go back to Lauren Taylor in London for more.
Thanks, Anand. Yes, the head of Ireland's opposition, Fine Gael party, has claimed victory in the country's election. The final announcement isn't due until Sunday, but early results suggest that the centre-right party is on course for victory. It's not, however, expected to win by an outright majority. Well, we can go to speak to Rory Challens now, who joins us live from Dublin. So, Rory, what kind of noises are coming out of the Fianna Fáil party, which is expected to have lost?
Well, the Fianna Fáil candidates who have been here at this Dublin count where I've been all day have been walking around with very, very long faces indeed. Some of the ones that I've spoken to have been trying to dress it up as being, well, put a brave face on it really, but whatever way you look at it, it has been a crushing defeat for them. It's not only the biggest defeats that they're looking at in their party's history, it's also the biggest slump in any party support in Irish political history. So this really is turning out to be a very, very momentous day for Irish politics.
All over Ireland, anger is being counted vote by vote. This election has galvanised a vengeful electorate. Indications are of over 70% turnout across the country.
At this count in the centre of Dublin, 6 different constituencies are being tallied up. And when all the boxes are emptied and the dust settles, Ireland will have had the biggest shake-up of its political landscape since it became an independent state.
The exit polls point to a hammering for the incumbent Fianna Fáil party, just 15.1% of the vote predicted. That's punishment for its role in Ireland's economic demise.
I just think that national movement, those ordinary people all around the country, had been let down, and we need to go back to those people. We need to listen to them, we need to talk with them and discuss how we can rebuild. And it's not going to be an easy task. It will take us 5 to 10 years, but there has to be a space in Irish politics for a centre political movement, and there is no centre political movement if Fianna Fáil disappears.
Any country in Europe thinking of going cap in hand to the European Union or the IMF would do well to look at what's happening to Fianna Fáil here.
There will be chills going up and down the spines of various parties around Europe looking at the results and the consequences of taking such a huge and momentous decision.
The predicted winner of this election is Fine Gael, and their leader, Enda Kenny, has already declared victory. With their likely coalition partners, Labour, they'll have the unenviable task of trying to renegotiate the terms of the EU-IMF bailout. They'll also need to bring unemployment down and implement several years of austerity measures.
Obviously, our party is thrilled to be doing so well, but we're also very, very conscious of the difficulty the nation finds itself in at the moment, and conscious of the need for a strong and stable government to allow our country to move out of this.
The Irish people may be getting their revenge, but their pain certainly isn't over yet.
So, Rory, they're expecting a coalition. Are they used to that kind of thing in Ireland?
Yes, the system of election here really generally seems to produce coalition governments. It doesn't always do that, but more times than not, Ireland ends up with a coalition government. And that is actually kind of how the Irish people seem to like it. They don't really trust any electoral system which will be likely to put just one party in power, give them the keys to the office and let them get on with it. They would much prefer 2 parties, try and hash it out, come to a kind of compromise and rule basically bouncing ideas off each other. So that's likely what we're going to have here. We're going to have Fine Gael probably going into coalition with the Labour Party. And over the next few days, what we'll have is a kind of horse trading scenario where both parties sit down and try and work out which politician is going to get which post. I think the really fruity one for both parties is going to be the finance post. Both of them will want that. They want to keep control of the money and make sure that all the economic decisions are made by their own party. But Labour are actually in a very strong position here. They've done better than they ever have done before. So they've got quite a few seats and they will have quite a lot of bargaining power. They will most assuredly ultimately we want to keep hold of that finance position, and that could mean that the real reins of power for Fine Gael actually swing a little bit towards Labour. They possibly might not want that, but they'll have to put up with it, I would have thought.
OK, Rory, thanks very much indeed for that. Well, reports from France say that the country's Foreign Minister, Michel Alliomarie, will offer to resign on Sunday. Alliomarie has taken a public battering since taking a holiday to Tunisia during the country's popular uprising. She flew there in a plane belonging to a businessman with alleged ties to the ousted President Ben Ali. That's it from us in Europe. Now back to you, Anand, in Doha.
Thanks, Lauren. And we are going to take a break right now, but coming up after the break, all the sport, including Pakistan's captain leads the team to a World Cup shock.
To invest in a country with the largest youth population as compared to the EU countries, please push the button. For more power to your global business, invest in Turkey.
All the news, all the time. AlJazeera.net/English.
Private security. This incident comes at a time when this is supposed to be a very secure area. The state has the authority to establish a force. Whether or not to have a morality police is the debate. UAE, a glamorous city determined to put itself on the map.
Artists from Hollywood and Bollywood in Abu Dhabi.
For companies and manufacturers in Afghanistan and particularly in the capital, Kabul. Hashim Al-Barra, AlJazeera.
Two generations face the past in order to understand the present. A young man embarks on a journey with his father in search of answers. Great changes in China have brought their traditional family way of life to a crisis point. Faces of China, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Time right now for the sport with Stuart.
Yes, thanks, Anand. And it's to the Cricket World Cup first, where Pakistan have 2 wins out of 2 now in the group stages after shocking the host side Sri Lanka to win by 11 runs. Yunus Khan and Misbah-ul Haq were the batting heroes for Pakistan in Colombo. The 4th wicket pair put on 106 runs, with Misbah the top scorer, 83 not out, as Pakistan made 277 from their 50 overs. In reply, Sri Lanka slumped to 96 for 4 in front of their home fans. And Pakistan captain Shahid Afridi removed his Sri Lankan counterpart Kumar Sangakkara for his 300th one-day international wicket. Sri Lanka eventually fell 11 runs short at 266 for 9, and Pakistan atop of Group A.
It's a good habit. Winning should be a good habit, you know. So we're trying to win every game, play hard, play with our strength. Maybe in the next 1-2 games, maybe we make some changing. We give rest to 1 or 2 guys. Otherwise, we will play definitely each and every game with this over strength.
Now, Pakistan, of course, without 3 of their top players, former captain Salman Butt and the fast bowlers Mohammad Amir and Mohammad Asif, who were all found guilty of spot fixing earlier this month. The trio, though, now say they'll appeal the verdict from the International Cricket Council at the International Court of Arbitration for Sport. They were found guilty of conspiring to bowl deliberate no balls at a test match against England at Lord's last summer. Effectively, they were banned for 5 years. The players are also due to appear before a court in London on March the 17th, accused of accepting corrupt payments relating to that same test match in England last August. Now, the next game in the World Cup is the one that all of India seems to have been waiting for, as another of the host nations takes on England. But the big match has been hit by a series of organisational problems. Firstly, it had to be moved to Bengaluru at short notice when Kolkata's stadium wasn't ready, and now fans are complaining about the ticket distribution. Andy Richardson reports from India.
It's the marquee fixture of cricket's World Cup group stage, England versus hosts India in Bengaluru. The sort of match every fan wants to see and every player wants to be involved in.
It's going to be a great atmosphere here in Bangalore, and I think it's one of those games that everyone dreams of playing, you know, playing against India in the World Cup on their home turf.
Getting your hands on a ticket for this match hasn't been easy, a situation not helped by the lack of a centralised ticketing system. Instead, here in India, regional cricket associations are put in charge of handing out tickets for their own individual matches. Many fans feel far too many tickets are going to those with connections or those in the corporate boxes, and far too few are filtering down to them.
It's absolutely pathetic. Honestly speaking, we've seen so many matches in this country. We've never seen such shabby preparation.
One has to ask, who is this tournament being played for? Surely not for the man on the street in India.
The sports world governing body have been left trying to explain why they don't seem to be in charge of ticketing their own event.
Ticketing sale is in the hands of the hosts. We set and agree policies with them. Some commitments are made well in advance. It's a fact of life that we have commitments to the sponsors who support us over a long period in our cycle.
This was the scene on Thursday when some tickets did go on public sale. Most fans on the receiving end only of disappointment and what local police have since described as normal practice. Demand will always outstrip supply for such games, but as the importance of matches increases at this event, so too does the scope for further ticketing chaos. Andy Richardson, AlJazeera, Bengaluru.
Now, Germany's Martin Keim has moved a step closer to becoming golf's new world #1 after winning through to the semi-finals of the World Match Play Championship in Arizona. Keim beat Spain's Miguel Angel Jimenez at the final hole of their quarter-final at the Dove Mountain course, and victory over Bubba Watson in their semi-final would see Keim take over from Willie Westwood as the world #1. Luke Donald plays Matt Kuchar in the other match play semi. Novak Djokovic's great start to the tennis season continues after a victory over Roger Federer in the final of the Dubai Championships. And it was a convincing victory. Djokovic saw off Federer 6-3, 6-3 in just 71 minutes to win what's his third successive Dubai title, to add to his victory in January's Australian Open, not to mention his part in Serbia's Davis Cup victory back in December.
You know, yesterday I wasn't happy with my semi-final performance, but today was absolutely